your host, Edie Horton, and I told you we'd be back. Now, tonight, we're going to be talking about Chevelles. This one in particular right here, she's a beauty. Hey, this is a 66 Chevelle. That's a four-door car, and you know what? The four doors are coming back. They're getting more popular. You know why? Because people have kids. I mean, they need to get their kids around. They got to get them to school, and they want to drive something cool. Because let's face it, some of the new Nissans, even some of the Chevys and Fords, they're butt ugly. I mean, I'm ugly. I can break a mirror. But them cars, woo, son, I'm talking about it. They are ugly. Now, so in 66, there was a lot of cool things that you could get on your cars that were evolving. They were getting better each year. This particular one was the air conditioning on this car. You could get an air conditioner with compressor so big it could air condition your house from your car. I mean, these compressors were huge. Now, the downside to them is they were very, very good at what they did. Let's talk about air conditioning for a minute. It pulls the heat out of the car. It doesn't put cold air in the car. But this thing was so efficient because it was so large, the compressor was huge. The downside to that was they didn't do good on fuel. You turn that compressor on this car and it drags it down like you threw it into gear and it was an automatic transmission. It was that big of a load on the car. Even sometimes if you had a weak battery and you left your air conditioner on and you came out to start your car in the summertime, it would crank over a lot slower, but if you turn the compressor off, it would fire right up. So they were huge, they were effective, they did a good job, but they just draw too much horsepower from the engine. Now, another thing that we like to do on these cars now is we like to change the alternator to a one-wire alternator. We get away from all the headaches of the mechanical regulator. It's just a pain. It's a bunch of wiring that you don't need. Now we just do the internal regulator and the alternator. We hook up one wire for the battery to it. We ground it, and guess what? Bada boom, bada bang, we're making 12 volts. It's great. And then it keeps your system at 12 volts. We're 13.7 because that's perfect operating voltage for an alternator is 13.7 volts when it's running at an idle. Now, it should stay there when you rev the thing up. If this thing goes up, you don't want that. If it goes up too high, you start blowing all your light bulbs in your car. And then you got a situation. So, a little side note here, because my wife is French, that's why I know this. Chevelle in France means horse. So, I guess it's pretty cool that they named it after a horse. I don't know what horse. Maybe a small, puny little horse, or maybe a big, fast, hopefully not a Mustang horse. We don't want to be named after a Ford. That would be terrible. Okay, so some of the other things. Now, as the years went on, after you bought your Chevelle, you could accessorize these things with some new wires that were better than the old spark plug wires. You could put bigger carburetors on. This one here happened to have a 4-rail Holley on it. They're very effective, work great. This is a stock intake from the, I think it was from the 80s. I'm not positive on that. But this engine, this is a 350. It'll do a great job. And it's just a very efficient engine at what it does. It'll get this car around just fine. Now this car in 1966 was equipped with a 2-speed Powerglide transmission. You heard me right, it only shifts 2 times. And it's one of the most sought after transmissions right now. That's what a lot of your racers like to use. They put these things in race cars all the time, and they can build these things up to where they're bulletproof. Some of the stuff that we'll be doing to this one here is changing up the linkage a little bit and making it, a little more user-friendly when you're driving it. He's going to drive it every day. Now, in the St. Louis area, a car in this condition, you're not going to like this. It's a little rough. This one's needing a lot of work inside. It needs a lot of work on everything. I mean, it's kind of, We put a new ignition key in this one. This one's in pretty good shape. The floor pans are pretty good. They're not all rusted out. The interior, he does have all the interior. We just got to put it back in the car. So this car, we are looking at right around between $1,500 and it could be up to $4,000 in this shape. I mean, this thing ain't even got a daggone windshield in it. How would you like to buy a car with no windshield in it for $4,000? But let me tell you, the cars are going up in value. These cars are skyrocketing right now. Even the four-doors, because people need these cars to get around, and they want to drive something cool. They don't want to drive. They don't care about the fuel economy. They just want to have something that's good looking, sounds nice, and hey, when you want to do a burnout, you can do a burnout. So, you know, there's a lot of things that we talk about with accessorizing, and it doesn't stop with these older cars. They're even better. You can accessorize this thing with wheels, better exhaust. You can put, this one actually has air shocks on it that we installed last week, and your interior is limitless. You can do all kinds of things. They make different dashes for these things. They make different steering wheels for them. They make floor shift kits for them. The interior, you can put any kind of seats in here, buckets. You can do all that kind of stuff, have them upholstered however you want it. Remember, like I always say, make the car yours. When you walk into a parking lot somewhere, it shouldn't be hard to find your car. You should be able to go, oh, look, there's my Chevelle over there. Not, look, there's my minivan. No, that's not mine. That's my minivan. No, that's not mine either. That one kind of looks like it. And what do you got to do? Beep, beep, to find your car. That's pitiful. Your car should be an extension of your personality. So remember, when you're accessorizing your car, make it yours. Do whatever kind of paint you want. As you can see, this one's in primer right now. It's got to go to paint after this. And on the door over there, there's ice blue, I think they call that. And that's the color that's going to be painted. It's going to have some white and the blue on it. It's going to look real nice. The customer is not very particular on this car, but his wife wants it a certain way, so we're going to make sure she gets what she wants. Now, you can get all this done here at Horton's Auto and Outdoor in Bethalto, Illinois. And remember, all this stuff that you're watching is powered by Dove Technologies and Horton's Cool Wave brakes. If you ain't got Horton's Cool Wave brakes, you might just get into an accident. You don't want that, do you? Also remember, AP Cigar over there in Rosewood Heights. Hey, he's got some big stuff going on. He's got some huge things happening down in Alton. It's going to be great. Don't miss out on it. Stop by, talk to Mike, have a cigar, and you don't want to miss out on this upcoming stuff with him. Also, Steve Dempsey down there in Edison, Ohio, he's got all you hooked up. You got one of these cars, he can get your floor pans, he can get your roof panels, he can get your fenders, quarters, sections, whatever you need, door skins. You can get them down there at Dempsey, Edison, Ohio, MrTaillight.com. We also got Patriot Beard Supply. If you're putting stuff in your beard and it's not from Patriot Beard Supply, you stink. No, really. You stink. If it ain't from Patriot, it's the wrong stuff. So, all them stuff's going to be available down here at the bottom of the screen. Make sure that you give us a thumbs up, like us, and subscribe. It's free. We've lost a few of you, and we're sorry. We want you to come back. Come back to us, please. We don't want to be lonely out there. I can't afford to be losing friends. Till next time, when we do another episode of something funny, a tool, we don't know. Until that time, hey, Dove Tech Talks, out.